A lot of focus was also put on preparations for protests today, how police will handle them, and what the protesters will be allowed to do. Our Team 7 coverage continues. Sean Hennessy with that angle of the story. Sean.
Chris, with the DNC convention coming to town in a week from Monday, protesters today got the ground rules on where they can go and what they can do, what they can't do, and we got to tell you, they're not happy about what they heard. Meantime, today, a Boston City councilor tried to make their life of protesters a bit freer and easier, but his attempt got shot down. At Boston City Council, the proposed resolution called for more restraint by Boston police and more freedom for protesters.
We really hold very dearly the right of people for an expression, particularly a political expression.
Councilor Felix Arroyo is calling for freedom of movement for public demonstrations and minimal use of barricades.
We're trying to make sure that the kind of situations that lead to violence that happen in other cities do not repeat themselves in Boston.
Arroyo was referring to the 2000 convention in Los Angeles and the clashes between police and protesters, an ugly stain on an otherwise successful event.
It presupposes bad behavior on the part of the Boston Police Department.
Which is why councilors quickly shot down the idea of handcuffing police.
You know, it's very difficult when some of these protesters are going to be spitting in the face of the police. They're going to be hurling bags of urine at the authorities. It's the way, what these anarchists that at least have shown in the past are capable of doing.
This is the official protest penned by the Fleet Center, which will soon be fenced in. Lawyers for the protesters today met with police and learned of 2 new barriers and a 4-foot concrete wall with netting.
You will be able to see some movement going on the other side, but it will be very difficult to see details because of this netting that will be put between the protest zone.
Between the protesters and the netting is the concern that Ursula had regarding the visibility of delegates to the protesters. The protesters say it's kind of ironic that in the cradle of liberty, free speech is being denied to most areas of the city and limited to one special zone. Protesters say, by the way, they'll be demonstrating in other areas of the city. Boston police say they'll try to have access to protesters and give them access as best they can, but protesters are worried that their free speech rights will be trampled. We'll have to see what happens. We're live in Boston. Sean Hennessy, 7 News.
The countdown.